Since its foundation, the United States of America has always incarnated sovereignty and national independence against all exterior threats: European colonization, international communism, Islamic terrorism. And yet, for over 1 century, we have seen our nation deliberately abandon its principles to fall into dependence and servitude, the opposite of national sovereignty, particularly in foreign policy and military defense. In honor to those who gave their lives to our country, and to ensure the continuity of our civilization, there can only be one foreign policy for the United States: absolute sovereignty and the protection of American interests. 1. Reject the world order. The idea of a new world order imposed on us by the European globalists goes against our interests, our national identity, and even our national security. Under no condition should the United States become a vassal of the European Union or cede its sovereignty in any way, whatever the justifications advanced by elites, moral, social, environmental. 2. Ensure the military independence of the United States. The destruction of the U.S. military and the merging of our national defense interests with a world police is the last step towards a world government. We must ensure the United States military remains independent from foreign interests and supranational organizations such as NATO. 3. Sanitize international economic relations. Our current international economic relations favor everyone but the American worker and taxpayer. Through unilateral free trade, the United States has the largest trade deficit in world history, and unconditional sovereign aid, we have depleted our soft power and rendered our economy dependent on foreign imports. In economic relations, as well as any other international matter, the principle of national preference will be applied. 4. Reserve defense contracts to American companies. The United States cannot remain independent if it doesn't retain the ability to produce the weapons used for its defense. Since the establishment of the new globalist doctrine, the Department of Defense has made it its purpose to favor foreign contractors over American companies, relegating the American soldier to a simple vector of foreign enrichment. The role of the U.S. military is not to generate profits for foreign corporations, but to protect American interests, and those include our economic interests. All defense contracts must be awarded exclusively to national companies, as is done in every industrialized nation. 5. Enforce strict control over military contractors. Not only should American defense contractors be American, they should be irreproachable when it comes to patriotism and the protection of American civilization. Any corporation that participates in globalism, anti-Americanism, or supports either morally or financially the idea of a European-dominated New World Order will be ineligible to bid on military contracts. 6. End illegal immigration. An open border policy is incompatible with a strong national defense, since it poses both a cultural and civil threat. Rather than sending our troops to defend the borders of other nations, Israel, Europe, our military should be employed to protect our own. Since illegal immigration is the same as a foreign invasion, against which the United States government is legally required to act, the military will make use of all force necessary to prevent foreigners from penetrating illegally in our nation. Seven, replace the Department of Homeland Security. While the official purpose of the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is to protect the United States at its borders and prevent domestic emergencies, it has since long adopted a new role as a propaganda tool for open borders and foreign military intervention. This federal department and its attached agencies have outlived their usefulness by a wide margin. It will be replaced with a Department of People's Security. 8. Responsibilize Americans to their national security. The defense of the nation is not just a prerogative of a select few insiders in the federal government. It's the matter of every American citizen. It is, however, the duty of the government to be absolutely transparent with the American people as to the threats we face, and not diminish the problems under a veil of media propaganda, to exalt patriotism and national pride, and to encourage Americans to recognize the fragility of their freedom and prosperity and defend them accordingly.